Hey, what's up guys? This is Will from Demand the Truth here. I am at the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial here. I will show you guys this. And tell you a couple things about FDR and where he played a role in the New World Order. Now, the name Delano, his middle name, was taken from a part of his family who were also working in synchronicity with John Forbes Kerry in the opium trade. So he has a very nefarious family going back. But I'm going to take you guys through a little tour here. And you see the 1933 starting it all off here. This generation of Americans has a rendezvous with destiny. And they certainly do. I'm going to show you some very interesting things about this memorial. This memorial is broken down into 4 places, which represent 4 of his terms. In each one of his 4 terms, the 2 illegal terms that he served as a dictator for. But everybody, the reason I want to do this video is because everybody, if you look at any list of top presidents done by any historians, typically you will find that FDR will rank among the top. And I'm here to try to give you some information and maybe try to dispel that a little bit. So starting in 1933, as you see that starting, you know, we're in the midst of the Great Depression, and FDR is largely credited as having gotten us out of that, but you know, he had farmers burn their crops, he had people turn in their gold to the Federal Reserve System. It's very interesting as to why he would do that, and this segment here is dealing with the Great Depression and you know, there's people poor here dealing with the breadlines. But FDR didn't actually save us from the Great Depression. That's a common misnomer. First and foremost, as Ben Bernanke admitted at the University of Chicago, who was the head of the Federal Reserve at that time, he admitted that the Federal Reserve actually caused the Great Depression. And then on top of that, the thing that got us out of the Great Depression was not FDR's policies of making us turn in our gold and burning our own crops, but it was also more of the military-industrial complex. Now, getting to the military-industrial complex, FDR knew full well, even the History Channel and books have been written about the fact that FDR knew full well that Pearl Harbor was going to get bombed before it did. And he was a Freemason, and as a matter of fact, he took Manly P. Hall, who was a 33rd degree Freemason and probably the most famous Mason of the 20th century. He took all of his works and he put them on microfiche. So he knew about the impending World War II. He knew about the United Nations and the League of Nations. And like I've said here in Carol Quigley's book, Tragedy and Hope, as well as the Anglo-American Establishment, it chronicles how these individuals, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Cecil Rhodes, Milner, and all these other guys basically wanted to create the League of Nations, which failed. And then after financing both sides of World War I and instigating the United States involvement there, and this is something I want to stop on, we must be the great arsenal of democracy. The reason I find that interesting is that again started with this New World Order idea with Edward Bernays when he brought the idea and the excuse for the United States to help come into World War I, which is to make America, to make the world safe for democracy. Now everyone thinks that's a George Bush line, but it's actually a Wilson line, but it's actually Edward Bernays line. And as you can see here, some of the water, these are things that are barricaded off, and the waterfalls are not in service right now. This is a relatively new one. This is a very extremely interesting quote right here, and this goes to the whole New World Order idea, and it says, "They who seek to establish systems of government based on regimentation of all human beings and a handful of individual rulers call this a new order. It is not new, it is not an order." And we were checking that out earlier this summer when we went to the southern jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite Freemasonic Hall. You can see that theme displayed prominently in all sorts of ideas. And FDR himself, like I said, was a high-level Freemason. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a good or bad person, but these are the themes that are here that most people aren't telling you about. But we're gonna move on because I want you to show you this very other important point that I think is interesting. And as we're going, like I said, through these different parts, we're going into areas where it's at different levels of his different terms. He served 4 terms and only stopped serving when he died. That's obviously illegal and unconstitutional. He was a dictator. Most people also don't realize that when he didn't get enough votes together to approve some of his policies, he actually unsuccessfully, thankfully, tried to stack the deck and elect his own Supreme Court justices more and add liberals to that just so that he could get his way. Luckily, that was shot down. But this is another quote that goes to the whole one world ideology, which you've seen displayed prominently. It says, unless the peace that follows, and they're talking about World War II here, recognizes that the whole world is one neighborhood and does justice to the whole human race, the germs of another world war will remain as a consequence to mankind. So that's basically saying, hey, if we don't come together under a one world government, you guys are going to be living with the scourge of war. We're going to keep giving you guys war, financing both sides until you guys submit and give us this right here, which was the United Nations donated by land of the Rockefellers in New York City. And you can see that here with Eleanor, and they try to spice it up. But it says, this is a very interesting quote. The struggle of world peace cannot be the work of one man or one party or one nation. It must be a peace which rests on the cooperative effort of the whole world. So what that's saying is this. We're going to keep financing both sides of both wars until we get our structure for world government, or else. And people say that the United Nations has been a great thing to help, stop war. People said, hey, guess what? When the United Nations came along, now we don't have any war. Well, first of all, like I said, it was given to us on land, given to us by the Rockefellers. And then also, then you have Alger Hiss, who was the first Secretary General of the United Nations, being a communist spy. This is all mainstream history on record. Look it up. And then the United Nations, its whole idea is to stop war and to, have people peacefully talk things out. So you have the United States, where you have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights with the clearly outlined inalienable rights that cannot be taken away from us. And then you put us in a bag with socialists, dictators, despots, military things, and you think that you're going to have some type of freedom and justice. No, it doesn't work that way. And it's not going to work. And then on top of that, like I said, the entire mission of the United Nations was to create a world that did not have war. Well, guess what? We had North Korea, then we have Vietnam, then we had Grenada, then we have Afghanistan, then we have Bosnia-Herzegovina, and then we have on and on and on and on. There's been more wars since the United Nations was created than before that. So, and a lot of them are carried out by UN peacekeepers, and those peacekeepers carry out war crimes and commit atrocities themselves. Entirely hypocritical, entirely crazy. And I just had to do this video because everybody thinks, oh, FDR, he's so great. Oh, he's our best president. And even historians regularly will say, oh, FDR is our best president. Well, that was really great. He allowed us to get hit on Pearl Harbor. He wanted to move us into this one world government. He didn't want to give up his power like George Washington. He wanted to just rule and rule and rule and rule and rule. And he said, you know what, United States? Give me your gold. Give me your gold. This guy is an asshat and he's ridiculous. So if you love FDR, well, maybe you just love world government and you just love a big state. And in that case, that's terrible. So anyways, I'll give you guys some parting pictures here and a couple parting words. I have some other things coming up, so check those out. But please stay tuned. Please share my video that I did before with John Kiriakou. It's very interesting from that CIA whistleblower's perspective. But also, guys, just try to be peaceful. Think against the grain, and speak out and do things, because it's really up to you guys working hand in hand until we can make this cool, until we can make this situation where we're actually doing something peacefully. Nothing is going to change. These people all over here in the deep state, the swamp over here, they're going to keep doing their thing unless we have some peaceful positive resistance and we share that word. So thank you guys very much for tuning in and bearing with me, and I will see you guys soon. God bless.